Yo, what up guys? Beside me here with the champion guide or champion spotlight for an epic champion from the Sylvan Watchers faction called Ruella. She's sort of new to a lot of players, at least to my account in Raid, because it took me a while to finally get her, but she has been in the game since 2022. And yes, she's worth all the hype. It's one of those ones that they're releasing to the game and you're like, what were they thinking? Well, it was dedicated to a particular content in the game, that is the Fire Knight. Well, not just the Fire Knight himself, but also where you find him in other advanced content like even the City of Central stages. This champion is best known for her triple A1 hits, which is like an Amiga but 3 times fun, because what she's gonna do is triple hit the enemies and has a 80% chance booked up to a 100% chance of stealing. She doesn't just reduce the atom meter, she steals it for herself. This is gonna boost the atom meter by 15%. So that's one major thing that a lot of players will use her for in the early game. So you just set your Amiga aside and begin to use this champion as your main atom meter decrease champion wherever you used to use an Amiga, because they are the same affinity, right? Well, people also use physics for that purpose of her A1 decreasing atom meter of the enemy, but she is good that she steals it on us for herself, which boosts her atom meter, which allows her to use this skill or other skills more often. So it's not a useless A1, it's one of those useful A1s. With a triple hit, it will hit 3 times against the Fire Knight, which you normally put this champion if you want damage from her in a Giant Slayer Mastery. So I'll show you my Masteries also. Impressive A1, that's one thing that a lot of people like, yes, that's awesome. Well, that's not all about her. Her A2 is also very, very impressive. She's one of the few epics that can land decrease defense and weaken on one boss or on one enemy. Normally, you need one champion to place decrease defense, you need another champion to place the weaken. With these 2 debuffs on the enemies, you deal maximum damage to them, well, if you ignore some of their defense more. So these 2 debuffs are normally obtained from 2 champions. Let's say some people use Geomancer and Ratalos brings decrease defense, Geomancer brings weaken. Or if you're an endgame player that has a legendary champion like a Lydia that does both of decrease defense and weaken, that's just one champion taking up the slot of a debuffer. Or you rely on your normal Stag Knights to do decrease defense for you. So there are options for decrease defense, but she brings both of them, decrease defense and weaken, not to all the enemies, but at least to one enemy. Well, it's on a 4-turn cooldown. It's a long cooldown. Yes, you expect this skill to be on a long cooldown, 4-turn cooldown. You cannot improve it with books, but the chance of landing will be increased, right? Each hit has a 50% chance of placing this debuff, so it will be increased to up to a 70% chance of placing not just decrease defense and weaken, but also decrease speed. Now, if you notice her A1 is triple hit already, talks about the Fire Knight. If you check out their A2 right now, it's also saying it's a triple hit also, which will also land decrease speed. That's one debuff that is essential for the Fire Knight if you want to keep his speed low and his atom meter consistently down. With his speed low, he will not be filling his atom meter so fast. This is also useful in content like the Iron Twins Fortress, right? The Iron Twins Fortress also benefits from, well, you benefit from placing decreased speed on that Iron Twins Fortress. This skill can help in there, although his A1, you cannot reduce the atom meter of that Iron Twins Fortress. I'm just thinking where decreased speed is needed, a lot of places. That's why you see some players using Ruella in content like the Hydra, because she'll just be sniping and putting decreased speed on different heads while placing decreased defense and weaken at the same time. So I've seen her used in those type of content also. So if you're not using her for the Fire Knight atom meter steal, or you're not using her for decreased defense and weaken and decreased speed, check out her A3. Will fill the atom meter of all your allies by 20%, and also place increased crit rate on all of them for 2 entire turns. Increased crit rate means that your allies could come into the battle with 80% crit rate. They don't have to be 100 or 99.9% crit cap. So with that in mind, you can build your champions less crit rate and more crit damage. So if you reduce your crit rate to 80%, that gives you an opportunity to stack up on speed, stack up on attack, even stack up on crit damage. So it's not for every team, because some teams will most likely run sometimes without a Ruella. So in that instance, you probably want to be all the time 100% crit rate. But if you know you always use Ruella in the Fire Knight, you know she will always be in that Fire Knight team with your Cold Heart. Well, Cold Heart is already 70% crit rate. There are other champions you run with her that you might as well build with less crit rate. Now, this is especially important for content like the Clan Boss, where if you manage to find a speed tunes that will accommodate this at turn meter feel of 20%. You have to remember that when you're doing your speed calculations, 20% turn meter feel. If you remember that, then and of course her A1s, I don't think any speed tune will work that way, because her A1s will just be giving her, well, okay, this one, her A1s will not give her turn meter at the clan boss. It will just be hitting the clan boss without actually boosting her own turn meter, because she cannot steal turn meter from the clan boss. So I guess the only turn meter feel you have to factor into your clan boss calculations is this skill. With that type of build, your damage dealers in your clan boss team can be at all 80% crit rate, because that's a team that never changes, right? She will always be there with them to boost their crit rate before they go in to do their big damage on the clan boss. So definitely there are teams that will work with Ruella, and she's not a useless epic that you can throw by the wayside. Now, that's not to say that Sylvan Watcher's faction will not find that useful. She will be MVP in that faction war, especially as a damage dealer, not just as a debuffer, but also as a damage dealer who also has some accuracy requirements to keep the turn meter down. She does bring her own accuracy if you put her in the leader slot in all dungeons by 40. She does boost the your allies' accuracy for that. So it's time for us to show you how I built her. Well, I've had her for a while, and today I finally slapped gear on her and slapped masteries on her. I'll show you everything, and hopefully we can test her in one content where she's an MVP, which is going to be the Fire Knight. So let me head to my Ruella build, and hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Where is she? There she is. I already have a +1 for her. And from her skills, I always recommend newer players to put a champion like this in the best artifact set for newer players, is speed and accuracy set, right? I don't know, in every video that's the one that you cannot go wrong with. Of course, if you're going for her for clan boss, you use a lifesteal set, but you can't go wrong with speed and accuracy, because these sets are more achievable in the early game from the dragon boss. Now, if you're one of those few who've been farming the faction wars, and you're getting some of those faction war materials that you need to forge, perception is also a set that cannot go wrong on Ruella, since that she needs so much accuracy from her A1, her A2, and her A3 doesn't need the accuracy. Those two skills will need a lot of accuracy depending on the content you're trying to beat. And speed, you get speed a lot from this perception when you pair it up. That's why I also recommend speed sets. Now for endgame players, you need this champion in reflex set, you need this champion in relentless set, any set that will make her take outrageous amount of turns. That's what I was looking for, the endgame build. Let me see the relentless set. That's a set that I use on. I abuse this set a lot. I think I use it on almost every champion that I put out for you guys, but I have a lot of it, so I have to use it on champions like this. And she's definitely going to be used in some mid-game to end-game content, especially in City of Centranos. That's why I put her in that relentless. Not a stun set, because she doesn't have a lot of AoEs going for her. Ooh, I found one that I've not leveled up. 1 second. Boom, artifact enhancement is going on. Anyways, so that's my Ruella endgame build right here, built to be taking numerous turns. That's what relentless set does. It has a 18% chance to get extra turns. Now, if you don't have good pair of relentless sets, you can always put reflex set on her, which will make sure that our A2 or our A3 is, available again to be used again, or it will. What does it do again? 40% chance to reduce the skill cooldown of one of our skills. So this one is better used when you're not using one of our skills, but you can put it on when you're using 2 of our skills also, so they can reset their cooldown and be used again in battle. So Ruella is seen as a PvE champion. That's why you see she has an aura in all dungeons. That's where you most likely use her, in dungeons, especially the Fire Knight. Now, there is a use case for her in the Spider, because that boss also needs his turn meter, or the Spider Queen needs her turn meter reduced consistently like an Amiga used to. But for the wave, for the Spiderlings, you have to bring somebody else to deal with the freeze or to deal with the bonds for those Spiderlings. Ruella doesn't help with the Spiderlings herself, but she'll keep the boss turn meter down, she'll keep decrease speed on him, and she'll help a lot in that content. So check out what I was looking for. Speed, not even crit damage. Why do I have so much attack on her? Well, I did build her in a little bit of damage after accuracy requirements was met, and that's accuracy and speed that I was looking for. More speed and crit rate. More crit rate. Yes, you see, I didn't go crit damage. Check out her skill A1 again. Each crit hit has a 80% chance. So if you do not build this champion with 100% crit, you will not steal or reduce the enemy's turn meter in the Fire Knight or the Spider. So it's essential that she's goes with crit rate glove at least to just meet that crit requirement. Maybe you want to go crit damage and then look for crit rate elsewhere. I just wanted to hit that crit requirement of 100% or even exceeding it. And that's why I went with crit rate glove. Normally we don't do crit rate glove on champions, but for a champion who benefits so much from crit, it's essential that I go with crit rate glove. It's because I'm not looking for damage for her. Accuracy on the chest to make sure I have enough accuracy for endgame content, where I will be using her, and of course always speed on the boots. I'll have accuracy on the banner, yes, because that's how I'm able to hit about 400 accuracy by having accuracy chest and banner. If you're early game, just a banner accuracy is alone is enough. You don't have to go accuracy on the chest also. This is just for end game build where you need 2 ways of getting accuracy. And what did I get? Even more crits from this Slayer set, right? Defense and crit damage on the amulet. If she's dying too fast, I might change it, but no, she's not needed. And check out her blessing. I went to cruelty for her blessing because she's going to be used for the Fire Knight, at least for me. Fire Knight teams, not Fire Knight hard though, Fire Knight normal mode. Why do I say not Fire Knight hard? Because at that content you probably need A1 freeze champions. That's the champions that shine in Fire Knight hard. She doesn't shine in that content. So, but I went with cruelty. It will still work against the Fire Knight and the Spider and maybe the dungeons, other bosses that I use her in. So a damaged Ruella will go with a Phantom Touch. I've seen some people building this champion with 100% crit rate, 300% crit damage, and nuking the hell out of those bosses. I have my own personal nuker. I have a damage dealer. She's just there as a supporting role to prep the boss with decreased defense, weaken, and decreased speed. That's a priority. So that's why I didn't go towards Phantom Touch. But Phantom Touch will even increase the number of hits that Ruella does on the Fire Knight. If you don't have enough hits to take down the Fire Knight shield, please go to Phantom Touch. I have enough to take down the shield of the Fire Knight, so that's why I did not go towards Phantom Touch. So take note of that. So all right, now that we know her cruelty, her blessing, her masteries are standard. There are 2 ways to put masteries on Ruella. You either want to go to defense and support, or you want to go to offense and support. I went towards this offense 3 and with Giant Slayer behind me right here as the damage dealing ability that you need, or damage dealing mastery you need for A1 triple hit A1 champions or above. So that's the one I went towards. And of course accuracy, a chance to increase the duration of, or small chance of increase the duration of those decreased defense, the weaken, and the decreased speed she lands on bosses, so she doesn't always have to come back to that 4-turn cooldown skill again. Now that's why I went for damage, but there are others who build their Ruella so fast that she goes towards this timely intervention and she's not built for damage at all. She's just there as a 100% support Ruella. I want some damage from Giant Slayer. That's why I didn't go towards timely intervention and I didn't go towards the defense tree. Check out El-Hate's website for more masteries recommendations of how you want to put your unblessed recommendations for Ruella, PvP or PvE. All right, I think I've spoken enough about this champion and hyped her up enough. Yeah, I showed my artifact, I showed my everything. Let's go over to some battle tests. Like I said, I'm only going to test this champion in one content. And as you can see, her work in that content is the same role that she was going to perform in any other content, dungeon content you bring her into. This is not an arena champion, so I'm not going to be testing her in arena builds. I'll take her to the more difficult stages of the Fire Knight normal, which is stage 25, and let's see what she brings to that battle. It's 40 energy right here. So this is whenever I put a champion to the test, I want to bring in similar range champions. I don't want to bring legendary, right? I want to bring similar range champion. That's why you see me using my starter champion, my apothecary, Dark Kale, and Deacon Armstrong. So with this team, I think this is an achievable team, but my gear is obviously going to be end game on high level, right? So take note of that. I just didn't want another legendary to come here and overpower or outshine Ruella. We'll be taking a look at what she brings to the battle. Now there's something I need to change about this team, and this is my champion starting the battle with his A1. And Ruella, does she even need to? Yeah, she needs to start the battle with her A1. I told her not to use this Tometer field because I want her to use the A1 more often. You know, just like you turn off all your skills for Allure and tell Allure to only use her A1s, I'm telling Ruella not to use this skill because it might make her not use her A1 more often on the boss. So she's only allowed to use this once, and then use it once and don't use it again, maybe. Well, Let's see. On the Fire Knight had 25, boss has 10 shields to hit for you to hit and take down. I have 3 hits right here. I have 3 hits right here. I have 2 hits right here. I have 3 hits right here. I'll have enough to take it down. But this champion is too slow that he doesn't get a chance to use his A1, so I'll not tell him to start with his A1. Alright, let's go into the battle. Now, the wave, as usual, will take a little bit of time because I didn't bring a big damage dealing champion, but let's see what Ruella does to this team. In slow speed, she did her A3 first. She put that increased crit rate on us. Her AoE increased crit rate on all the allies. And then she went in with her decreased defense and weaken on that champion. And all our other champions are doing what they want. So did her A3 first. Now this is her A1. You see how she's boosting her Tomita? She's almost gonna lap our champions, our allies. It's her turn again. Just watch. Again, Tomita field again. So she's just making us lap these enemies. They're not even getting a chance to take a turn. It feels like I have 2 Tomita boosters, which is Apothecary 1 and Ruella 2, because I do. We have increased speed on us from Apothecary, and her A1s is filling up her Tomita. She just took a turn and already her Tomita is filled again. We also have a Deacon Armstrong. That is excess Tomita filling. Once you lap, you can lap the enemies like this. That's why I see I didn't even bring a reviver, because I know I'll be totally safe. But I do have a stun champion. Atel is in a stun set. So, but if your run is not 100% safe, you might want to replace your, maybe Apothecary. Your heal booster champion might be replaced with a Sealed Drake or with a Rector Drat, somebody to revive, because this battle people can go down, right? Also, Cold Heart was an option. I could have put a Cold Heart instead of my Atel right there, but I didn't want the Atel. I didn't want Cold Heart to outshine my Ruella because Cold Heart does have that high Tomita decrease that she does on the Fire Knight boss also. So I wanted Ruella to see if Ruella alone can consistently keep the Tomita of this Fire Knight boss down by doing her A1, A1, A1. Well, I did turn on an A2. That might be a problem, but if it's a problem, you might want to turn off her A2 entirely and make her use only her A1s on the boss. Now, I'm not going to make you watch this second battle. Let's just pause and get you right the way to the end when we are the boss and see what Ruella can help us do for the boss. I'll be right back. All right, we're down to the last enemy standing and we're on to the boss. Let me put it on slow speed and see who hits the boss. Apothecary did. Why Deacon started with that skill? Damn, Deacon has messed up. Ruella started with her A1 that she's supposed to. Atel A1, and the shield is down. Damn, it's not totally down. We just wasted our poisons. No problem though. Deacon was supposed to start with his A1. What happened to Deacon? That's Ruella doing her A2. So the Tomita, and immediately she went in with the A1. That's an extra turn from the set that I gave to her, the Relentless set. We don't have heal reduction, so we don't even want this boss taking a turn. She's going to take an extra turn again. A1. The Tomita is not going as down as I want it to. This boss might get a turn. Is Ruella not able to do it alone? Deacon is helping also. Maybe I'll have to bring in a Cold Heart. A1, A1, A1. She's trying though. I have to turn off the A2. Will she use the A2 again when the boss clearly has decreased speed? Let me see. Hopefully she doesn't use the A2 again. She has to be smart. A1, A1, A1. Yeah, she's smart. She's not using the A2 because the boss already has those debuffed. Well, it would have been a smart idea for me to bring in my Cold Heart, who is going to help. Or an Allure. Deacon is helping. Ruella A1 again, please. Don't let this boss get a turn. A1, A1, A1. It's so dicey. The boss will get a turn, but you get the point. I didn't bring in the Cold Heart because I wanted Ruella to do the Tomita reduction alone. And the boss did get a turn. Let's see if we can put the Tomita down again. That's multiple hits. Yes, 3 hits. She did take an extra turn. She's doing it all alone. Deacon keeps using his skill at the wrong time, but Ruella is smart not to use the skill at the wrong time. And our main damage dealing champion is a poisoner. Dark Kill. Using his A1 to explode the poison while he uses his other skill to land the poison. Still a viable way to deal with the Fire Knight. It's your only damage source. For the boss at least. For the wave content, is not that good. Taking care of the wave. All right, that's him exploding all the poison. So that's my Ruella build. The first time I ran the battle, it was a 2-minute run. This time around, I took out a cold heart and it was a longer run. So you could replace my ATL, didn't do much for me. I could replace my ATL with a cold heart, which would have made that Tomita stay down the entire time. So yes, Ruella did help keep the Tomita down, but she needed some support from maybe another champion, like an Allure or like a cold heart, or maybe an Amiga. So let me know what you think about this champion guide or champion build. Where do you use your Ruella? I always love to know, because I built her because it's a champion that I obtained in a while ago, and I've never had the opportunity to test her out in any content. Whenever a champion is hanging around in my account like that, I'm like thinking, where am I going to use them? How will they be useful? Will they ever be built or used? And finally, she got the opportunity to get a gear from me, and now she can feature in some content for me. All right, I'd love to really know your feedback about this champion, what artifact sets you built on her and all that stuff, and hopefully we can find more use for her in some endgame content. For now, Fire Knight hard mode is not a place for her. I've seen some people use her in that content, but no, she doesn't have A1 freezes, so she will not feature in that content. She will only feature in Fire Knight, maybe a city or some channels, in some stages, anywhere where the boss can have their atomic reduced or they need decreased defense and weaken. You see me using a Ruella, doing her extra turns, and with this end game build that I put on her by using her in an early game content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any champion you want me to take a look at and test out in the future videos, make sure you drop them name in the comment below and I'll take a look at it if I've not done it already. Later guys.